Hey, look. We have our first customer.
Ooh. I wonder what he's going to buy.
Please scan your club card to continue.
I don't have a club card!
It really feels like we're providing a valuable service to the community.
Yes, I agree. It makes me feel all warm and fuzzy on the inside.
Unexpected item in bagging area.
Wait, I haven't bought anything yet. What are you on about?
Please wait for a member of staff.
All I wanted was some wood!
Oh dear.
I guess you could say. He shopped. Till he dropped. Ha 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 ha.
Greetings, survivors and friends. Shadowfrax here with your regular update to the world of Rust, and this week's is monumental as far as they go, quite literally, as first of all we have a brand new one to visit and hang out at. If you follow me, then you'll have already heard a lot about it, but this week the new scientist-protected compound monument went live, a place where you can feel safe. As long as you obey the rules, of course, and these chaps don't mess about. Inside the compound, an old town that's been reappropriated by the scientists and walled off, you'll find a wealth of public facilities, but also a wealth of green peacekeeper scientists and their own rather effective turrets, enforcing a safe zone, a new feature for Rust and one that could have some interesting outcomes. Most basic facilities are present here for you to use: a refinery, tier 1 workbenches, a recycler, a water catcher, and always-on hobo barrels. There's even a chill zone complete with barbecue and vodka, but probably the biggest draw will be the vending machines, offering a mix of essential daily items such as resources, clothing, tools, and lethal weapons. As I mentioned, the area inside and immediately outside the compound is a safe zone, but safety in Rust is of course a relative term, and firstly this means not whipping out a weapon, although accidents do happen, so you'll be given a few seconds to comply and put it away before your inevitable doom. There is however a zero tolerance policy in effect for outright acts of aggression in any form, and these will not only get you murdered but also mark you as public enemy number 1 for 5 minutes, something that persists beyond death, so you'll have to wait it out before revisiting. Other activities off limits here include sleeping, which will get you killed after 20 minutes of blissful rest, and looting, apart from your own stuff of course. Expect a lot of tweaks and changes over the next month as this monument gets tested to its limits by the player base. After all, no new features are ever idiot-proof, and Rust has an above-average supply of them, so we'll have to wait and see what happens. From the land to the sea now, and some other big changes making a splash this month see gameplay being extended out into and indeed below the ocean. You'll likely have already heard me talking about the scuba gear, a 4-piece set that you'll now be able to find stashed in crates around the island. The mask lets you see clearly underwater and can be worn with some hats. The tank gives you 10 minutes of dive time and can be refilled at a workbench. Fins turn you into Aquaman in the water, but Pingu on land. And the wetsuit keeps you dry. Somehow. But more importantly, keeps your bits cozy even in the coldest of liquids. All of this would of course be frivolous without something interesting to see down there. Unfortunately, the ocean floor is now littered with crap. Dive sites and sunken wrecks abound, and the latter can be easily located by keeping your eyes peeled for bottles that float above them at the surface. Down below, you'll find a lot of crates attached to the floor, somehow, which when untied will float to the surface, ready for looting. And there's a lot to see down there now in the way of rock formations and foliage, although this art is only temporary and will receive an almighty polish over the next few weeks. As mentioned last episode, the long-awaited feature of first-person clothing has finally arrived this month, and although it still needs a touch-up here and there, it's completely functional and includes full support for your skins. A word from Facepunch on hacking now in the dev blog, one of your favourite things to talk about obviously, and yes, cheating has been rife for a long while, it's no secret, but what's being done about it? Well, although this sort of thing will never be stamped out completely, thanks to some new server-side prevention this month, a list of previously possible hacks should now no longer be possible, and the team are talking to EAC to see what else can be done on their side to help, so hopefully we'll hear more good news on this later on in the month. Building exploits were also targeted in this update, and a few that should no longer be available include doorless roof bases and fanned wall stacking. Some false positives from the previous iteration should also have been reversed. AI became a bit more complex, with compound scientists in particular now being able to follow patrol paths, look at you inquisitively when you get close enough, and search for targets that are trying to hide from them. And some optimizations to CPU-side rendering this month should hopefully give a boost to low to mid-range processors. Graphically, underwater renderings being looked at, seeing as how you'll actually be wanting to venture down where it's wetter now. And one important change already is how the surface looks from underneath. It's actually more reflective now, as it should be, and this could restrict your awareness of what's going on at the surface, but sometimes you just have to look reality in the face and lick it. A new, faster and better ambient occlusion system was implemented. This feature approximates illumination and shadowing, and as you can see here, shadows where objects meet the ground are particularly improved and no longer make them look like they're hovering. Apart from all these changes, there were improvements to boat and chainsaw sounds, a new facial hairstyle, a bug that kept AI dormancy from being enabled by default was fixed, and high external walls and gates will decay a lot faster when placed outside tool cupboard range. You can find the full list of changes on the dev blog, and a link will be in the description, but please leave me a comment and let me know what you thought to this month's patch. Spank the like and subscribe buttons, and please join me over on Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, Discord, and my Steam group. I will of course catch you all soon, but in the meantime, keep calm and stay rusty. Cheerio.